So one of the things in this project is there are a lot of different fabrics in here, and if you've bought the Alison Glass fabric pack, you'll find you've got a heap of fabrics. And of course, if you're doing your own fabrics, you're going to want to decide what you're going to use in place of these. So to be really organised, what I'm going to do is clip a label to each of my fabrics so I know which is which. And then I've given you a chart that has a simple number assigned to every fabric, and that's going to make finding the right fabric a lot easier. Now, each time we start using a new fabric, I'm also going to give you a cutting plan, and that's so that you can make sure that when you're cutting pieces out, say for applique, you're still going to have enough left for future blocks that we're going to use them in. So you've got two options with labelling your fabrics. You can either print out 2 copies of this fabric chart and cut each of the individual pieces out, use it as a label, which is what I'm going to do, and then staple it onto the selvage of the fabric. But if you think that those pieces might fall off, another option would be to take just a little clip out of the corner of each of your fabrics and stick it onto your fabric chart. Either way, it's definitely worth doing this to keep track, unless you're the sort of person that you're just using scraps. If you're just using scraps, then I'm doing a blue, just use a blue, and that will make life very simple for you. The other thing I wanted to say is if you do pick up the wrong fabric and use it at any point, don't cry. I promise I won't. You'll always be able to substitute in. So say, for example, I've said to use this fabric, and by mistake you pick up this one, then when you come to a block where I've said use this one, you can use that one. So it's really not going to hurt, but I know a lot of people like to make sure everything's just spot on. And of course, as I'm doing your sample, I really ought to get it right. So we're going to start first of all with the fabric that has this pattern on. So these are the ones on the chart that are numbered 1 to 8. And it's a little bit confusing because when you print these out, the colours are not true. They're better on the screen, but as we know, colours are not always perfect on screens. So I thought I'd help you to sort them out. So our first one on our list is the B, which is the blue. And if we look at these 3 fabrics, you might think that you've got blue, turquoise and green, but actually we've got blue, purple and turquoise. So this is our blue, this is our purple, P, and this is our turquoise. So the blue one, which is in between the 2 colours, so if we put them so that they blend, this is the P, this is the B, and this is the T. So we're going to take the B, that's fabric number 1. So I'm going to then cut out my label, and I've given you also a room for notes so that if you're using a different set of fabrics or want to know where you got it from or anything like that, you can use that space. So I'm just going to pin it onto the selvage because I know I'm not going to be using the selvage, and that way every time I come to a block and it says fabric 1, it's going to be there for me and I know which one I'm using. I don't have to keep reinventing the wheel with it. And I've run out of staples, so I'll have to do that later. Okay, so that's our blue, and the next one is C, which is the black. The next one is E, which is the pinkier one of the 2 of these. So the pinky one, that's E. The next one is G, which is kind of a sort of very, very yellowy green. That's G. And then we've got L, which is always the whitey one. And then number 6 is O, which is a bright orange. Number 7 is P, which is the purpley one. And number 8 is T, which is this one, which is a bit greener. So that's your fabrics 1 to 8. Now we're going to have a look at fabrics 9 to 24. And if you're doing the Dolly Mixtures with the Alison Glass, then that's your cross stitch fabrics. These are all blenders that have a little X on in a pattern. So if we look at the first one, B, you can see that we've got two blues here. So the duller blue, darker blue is B, and the lighter, brighter one is B1. Then we've got C, which is actually a dark grey. E2 is one of the pinks, but it's the more orangey pink. Then you've got G1, which is a very grassy green. Then followed by K, which is your black. L, which is the white. L1 is the white with the black crosses. Number 17 is O1, which is your orange. Number 18 is P, which is the bluey purple. Then you've got P1, which is a very pinky purple. And then P2, which is a real pink. After that, we've got T1 and T3. So T1 is bluer than T3. And then you've got V and Y2. So V is this very sort of yellowy, greeny yellow. And then Y2 is your orangey yellow. So that's the cross stitch ones. I'll put those over there because they're done. And this is our final group, which are really nice fabrics. They're all beautiful, but I particularly like these ones. So these are all from Some Prints range. So we're on to now fabric number 25. And these are the ones with the little floral pattern in. So this first one I've got is B1, so that's the very blue one. These are much easier to sort out than the cross stitch. The next one is C, which is the black and has this lovely neon pink in. Then we've got E1, which is the pinkest of the remaining ones. And then G, which is the green. L is this lovely background with the little pink and yellows. O, which is your very orangey one. P, pinky and purpley. Then T1, turquoise, and Y, which is your yellow. So those are quite straightforward to sort out, but when you're actually picking fabrics up, it'll be really good to have the labels on. So that takes us up to fabric number 33. So now the last set, which is 34 to 41, we've got this doily pattern. We're starting with B, which is the blue, then C, which is the black. It's one of our backgrounds. Then we've got E1, and then G, which is this very yellowy green. L1, which is the creamy white. Then O, which is very bright orange. P1, which is this purple with the pinks in. And then finally, Y, which is the yellow. So if you get all these numbered up, you're going to find sorting your fabric and finding the right fabric is going to be a lot easier. So do share any ideas that you have for keeping your fabrics stored and labelling them. I'm sure we'd all love to see, and that's in the Facebook group that you can join. So do share that, and we'll look forward to seeing you and starting our first blocks.